Welcome back, travel fans. I'm Morgan from the very unofficial travel guides. In last week's video, I was telling you about our great experience on board the Aida Luna German cruise ship, and today we're talking about dining at Disney World. The California Grill is a signature dining experience on top of the contemporary resort. Why can't I say that? On top of the contemporary resort at Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. Even though the restaurant is at the very top of the resort, the check-in is on the second floor, so close to the bottom. I highly recommend making reservations for the California Grill as soon as you know you're going to be in Florida, because it's really, really popular, and in the 4 trips that we've done to Disney in the past few years, this was the first time that we were able to get a reservation at like a reasonable dinner time. Anyways, when your pager buzzes, you take the express elevator up to the dining area and are greeted by this huge wall of wines. The dining room is very wide open and has an elegant, contemporary ambiance with amazing views on basically every side of Bay Lake and the Magic Kingdom. But more about that later. Let's look at the view of the food and drinks first. In addition to having hundreds of fancy wines priced up to $7,000 a bottle, they also have a full bar with basically anything you could want to drink. Marcus got the twisted Mai Tai, and I got a dirty Bombay Martini, shaken, not stirred. The drinks were very nicely presented and strong, but I thought the Mai Tai was a little on the tiny side. With our drinks, we got some bread and butter and perused the food menu. The cuisine at the California Grill is described as American seafood and sushi. And if you have the Disney dining plan with table service points, you're going to sacrifice 2 points per person to eat here on the plan, because it's one of the so-called signature dining experiences. Marcus ordered the braised lamb hind shank with crushed root vegetables, rainbow carrots, and mustard gremolata, whatever that is. And I had the kabocha squash and mascarpone ravioli with squash puree, root spinach, caramelized baby fennel, and Pinot Noir syrup. The presentation was nice, the food tasted great, and as you can see, we cleaned our plates, which of course means we also ordered dessert. Marcus got the amazing tasting and looking chocolate pudding cake, which is described as a luscious chocolate cake with Nutella filling, meringue kisses, and chantilly cream. And I got the somewhat disappointing warm homemade fritters, which were listed as banana-stuffed, cinnamon-dusted fritters complemented with a trio of dipping sauces, but they didn't taste like bananas, they tasted more like fried dough. And they were basically coated in sugar, which gave them sort of a dry, gritty texture, and the undefinable dips didn't really help, but more about that in a second. Okay, now let's talk about the view. I guess one of the main reasons that the California Grill is so popular is because of the amazing view of Bay Lake and the Magic Kingdom. In fact, if you book like 100 million years in advance, you can get a dining time during the fireworks show in the Magic Kingdom. And if you want an even better view, they have these viewing terraces outside, and the lights dim inside and outside, and they play the same soundtrack that they're playing in the park. So it's a really magical experience. But like I said, very popular, so reserve a long time in advance. Okay, so one thing we were kind of disappointed about was the service. And I understand that can be different every time because it depends on what server you get and what kind of mood they're in that day. Our server seemed not really interested to be there that day or to talk to us. Like when he brought the bread, he just sort of plopped it down on the table and disappeared, and then didn't explain to us the different kinds of breads that were in the basket or anything like that. The same thing with the fritters. To this day, I have no idea what was in those dips because it's not listed on the menu and he didn't explain it. I guess that will remain a Disney mystery. And here's something he did that I think is an absolute no-go. After he brought our desserts, like a minute later, he brought the check and set it on the table while we were still eating. It's kind of like sending, a really clear message saying, can you guys please hurry up because I want to get the hell out of here. I mean, this is a so-called signature dining experience, meaning like the top of the top level. It's so fancy they even have real towels to dry your hands in the bathroom. And that kind of service, as far as I'm concerned, just doesn't match the level of excellent food and atmosphere. I wouldn't be complaining about it if we were talking about like Pizza Hut or something like that, but our bill was way over $100. So if I'm spending $100 on dinner, I want $100 of service too. Am I being too picky? I don't know. I just feel like it should have been better. Like I said, if you go and get another server, you might have a fantastic experience, and the food and the drinks and everything else was great. So I guess I would say that maybe we would go there again too, but then you also have to think about, if you're using the dining plan, do you want to use 2 table service points for that? Listen, people, I'm going to be posting restaurant reviews like this of just about every place we ate that whole week while we were in Orlando, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet and check back for all those videos. And also, if you don't follow me on Facebook, every Friday on Facebook we do Food and Drink Friday. So I post pictures and videos of the cuisine and things I've tried around the world on my travels, and I encourage you guys to do it too. And it's sort of a fun foodie meetup. So if you're on Facebook, check me out at Morgan's Very Unofficial Travel Guides on Facebook, and you can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at Mr. Morgan O'Brien. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.